Hello, my name is Erica, and I'm the Dyslexic Trekkie. I had a script already set up for this week. I was going to do a video on how the Cardassian military government worked alongside their family structure. And then I realized it was the beginning of June. Don't ask me how I lost track of when Pride was starting, but I did. And I wanted to come up with something I could do relating to Pride within Star Trek. The options are kind of limited. So when I was trying to work out what to do, I had shared a meme that has to do with the actors who play Seven and Raffi with the character that played the punk in Star Trek 4. And one of my friends made some comment about how he loved the two characters together. And I was like, well, yeah, that is what I could be doing instead. A little bit of an overview of the characters in case any of my viewers don't know. 7 of 9 is what's known as a Borg, this collective of individuals that have surrendered their individuality for this, I guess you could say, society. And they're called Borgs because they're cybernetic. If you see the picture of 7, she has a thing over her eyebrow and she has lacings of metal on her hand. That's because those limbs and those organs are missing, and what you're actually seeing are implants to make up for them. The Borg don't do it quite so prettily. They don't care about how the people look. They just want them to be functional. In Star Trek Voyager, she's freed from the Borg. She finds her individuality, she develops some sense of self, and she ends the series in a relationship with a man, the commander for the show. And the general consensus for them is this was slapped together at the last minute and it shows. But because of this, I think a lot of people just assumed 7 was straight, because it was the early 2000s, and that's kind of what people thought. And to give a little bit of a backstory about Raffi, she's a new character in the franchise. She's actually friends with Admiral Jean-Luc Picard. I think he was originally her mentor. The writers gave Raffi an addiction, which I don't think is completely clearly explained. It creates an interesting dynamic because it's been established in Star Trek that humanity has moved past that. But the Federation isn't doing so great, and their social structure isn't holding up as well as it should. Their ethics have definitely had a hit in the first season. In the second season, they're starting to get themselves back to who they're supposed to be. At the end of season 1, we see Raffi and 7 of 9 lacing their fingers together and talking very intimately. And me being me, I'm going, where the hell did this come from? But they're cute. They really are. I was a little surprised because not that long before, Raffi declared that she loved Picard. And Picard, being who he was, just didn't know what to do with it. So that kind of threw me. In season 2, we come in after about a year of downtime where Raffi's back in Starfleet. 7 is back working with these rangers who are helping keep an area of space safe that the Federation has abandoned. And they're not really together in any conventional sense. Raffi makes some point about how she feels like the jerk because she resents 7 not being nearby when she's literally saving people's lives. And I think they've all but broken up. I have a feeling if things in the story didn't happen the way they did, they would have. But Star Trek being Star Trek, they end up first in an alternate universe by the Next Generation's primary villain, or nemesis, Q, and then they have to go back in time to get their universe back because they can't just jump timelines. Q screwed everything up. 7 is no longer Borg. She is now Annika Hansen, who is the president of the Earth. And Raffi just kind of works with the military. It's a messed up situation. They get themselves back in time, and Raffi and 7 have to actually figure a way to get along, which they haven't actually managed to do yet. It's kind of a really wonderful bickering relationship where 7 resents Raffi for trying to make her use her knowledge as the Borg because 7 really likes being Annika for once. It's a little bit sad, and it's heartbreaking, the fights they have. But it's the fights they have to get to where they're going to go. But in the end, Raffi and 7 do find a way, and it's actually with the help of Q, whether they like it or not. And Raffi gives 7 the chance to see that the Borg part of who she is a good part of who she is. Not because it's Borg, not because she can do amazing things, but because of how she would use it if she gave herself the chance. I think it's something a lot of people could honestly relate to, embracing all of who you are to be the best version of yourself. It isn't easy and it's messy as hell, but it's a lot better than what's going on at the beginning of the series. Something I wanted to talk about in the story is what I want to see happen in the next season. It's already been established that they're going to be bringing back the original Next Generation crew, at least those who are willing to come back and canonically still alive in the Star Trek universe. But I hope they tie up these loose ends. Raffi is back in Starfleet. Seven has been given a field commission during a Borg attack because she's the person who knows the most about the Borg. She knows what's going to work best on fighting them, or at least interpreting their actions. And I like to think that maybe the Federation offered her a permanent field commission. I think within the Star Trek universe, there's enough of an argument to let it happen. The real question is, would she take it? And I don't know if she would. I'm not sure which way she would go. I could see her taking this as her reward for finally being recognized for the person she actually is. But I could also see her looking at it and telling them she'll help during this crisis that starts off the last season, but afterwards saying, I'm going to go back to the Rangers. They accepted me when you didn't. I think both are valid, and both would be a huge step forward in either direction. Whichever way they go, I'd love to see Raffi stand by her side. If Seven stays in Starfleet, I would love to see Raffi stay in Starfleet with her. But if Seven goes back to the Rangers, I'd love to see Raffi go with her. Because there's a little bit of that rogue nature in Raffi. I think she would do great in the kind of work that's shown to be going on with the Rangers. Now, for Raffi personally, one of the things I'd like to see is her get back with her son. The Romulans have gone through a horrible tragedy, but also another tragedy happens, and Raffi suspects that the previous covert military within the Romulans did it. Problem is, her son married a Romulan woman and is about to have a baby. I can understand why he would ask her to stay away and just not be willing to accept her while she has these views. However, it turns out she was right. And I would love for her to come back and say, I never thought you, your wife, the Romulans did anything wrong. But there was a covert group of people. And I'd love to see Raffi introduce Seven to her son. And I think it'd be kind of interesting to see this man who was accusatory towards his mom for things relating to the Romulans, how he might respond when he has to decide if he's going to accept somebody who was raised by the Borg. Will he show the respect he wished his mom would have shown his wife? I'd like to see Raffi introduce Elnor to him as well, because in a way you could argue that Elnor is now his little brother, something I think would be great for him. There's so many little details within this dynamic of these two women that is everything we hope one day being gay could be in the future. Nobody even says the word gay, lesbian, bisexual. That question's never there. They're a couple. How are you doing? You had your family lost to you when you were a kid. Well, here's people who love you. Make a family. They're here for you. You've got a young man who could use some structure from older people. Well, you're available and you care about each other. You're a family. That's one of the biggest and most important parts of the gay community, the thing that really holds us together. We may not like everybody and we may bicker amongst each other, but we're still a family. And there's a reason why we use that word. So many of us don't have that. Star Trek is meant to show the very best possibility for who we could be. Because of that idea, I hated what they did in Picard to the Federation. And I agreed with it because it's always been also a commentary on our state right now. But at the same time, that's kind of what's going on with these two women. Are they a lesbian couple? In the Federation, they'd say they're a couple. They're two women. You want to give it a name? Go right ahead. We just see them as people in love. And it would be really great if we reached that point. I'd like to wish everybody a very happy Pride Month. I hope you all have great fun. I enjoyed finding all the pride flags I intend on using in this video. Thank you for watching. If you like this subject, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any thoughts, feelings, or ideas on this subject, please share in the comments below. Again, my name is Erica, and I'm the Dyslexic Trekkie. You might wonder why I constantly use this image of Ray in my hoodie. It's because that's his happy place. He likes nothing more than to crawl into my hoodie and hang out. He did it from a little kitten. Thing is, he's no longer a little kitten. He doesn't quite fit. And we don't fat shame. He's a big boy now. Yeah, you're a big boy, but every so often you just need to feel better. Oh, my neighbors are up. You heard a sound. And oh, if you could only hear him purr right now. He's got his engine running. I am completely covered in hair because he's shedding. And he says, "Mom, am I just your toy? Stop recording me. This is an invasion of privacy." Yeah. Love you, baby.